Welcome back to Stoic Wisdom TV. The friend zone is one of the most frustrating and misunderstood social dynamics, often leaving men feeling powerless and unworthy. But in reality, it is not a punishment, nor is it a permanent state. It is a test zone that challenges a man's ability to command respect, value himself, and embrace self-sufficiency. Most men value the friend zone as an unfair rejection, as if their kindness, availability, and emotional support should entitle them to romantic affection. But the harsh truth is that attraction does not work this way. Women do not base their romantic interest on fairness or effort alone. They respond to deep psychological triggers of desire, mystery, and value. A fundamental mistake many men make is believing that by proving their loyalty and devotion, a woman will eventually wake up and see them differently. They wait, they hope, and they continue to be available, thinking that their patience will be rewarded. Others, upon realizing they are not getting what they want, react with bitterness, cutting ties in frustration and leaving with resentment. Both of these reactions stem from attachment and expectation to things a Stoic man must learn to master. The Stoic approach to the friend zone is not about manipulation or playing games. It is about developing self-respect and recognizing that your value is not dictated by someone else's perception of you. Marcus Aurelius once said, "You have power over your men, not outside events." Realize this, and you will find strength. A woman placing you in the friend zone is an external event, beyond your control. What you do next, however, is entirely within your power. Instead of seeing this situation as an obstacle, see it as an opportunity and invitation to shift the way you carry yourself, to reassess your own worth, and to break free from the need for external validation. Women do not intentionally put men in the friend zone out of cruelty. They do so because they do not feel the right kind of attraction. They sense a man's availability, predictability, and excessive willingness to please. And while these qualities are admirable in friendships, they do not ignite passion. Attraction thrives on polarity, on challenge, mystery, and confidence. When a man places a woman on a pedestal, constantly seeking her approval, he communicates that he sees himself as beneath her. No woman is drawn to a man who does not believe in his own worth. The key to overcoming the friend zone is not to convince a woman to see you differently. It is to actually become different. This is where Stoicism provides invaluable wisdom. A man who follows Stoic principles understands that his value is not determined by external circumstances, but by his own actions and mindset. Instead of waiting for her to change her mind, he steps back and focuses on himself. He stops prioritizing a woman who does not reciprocate his feelings, and instead invests in his own growth, passions, and self-respect. Most importantly, he accepts the possibility of walking away. He does not beg for love, nor does he harbor resentment. He simply understands that any relationship or romance must be built on mutual attraction and respect, and if it is not there, he moves forward with dignity. Ironically, this very act of detachment often makes a woman reconsider. The moment you stop chasing, you become the prize. Thus, the friend zone is not a punishment, it is a mirror. It reveals where you need to grow, what you need to change, and how you need to reclaim your power. One of the greatest traps men fall into when stuck in the friend zone is becoming a woman's emotional support system. At first glance, this seems like a noble role of being there for her, listening to her problems, offering comfort when she's upset. But beneath this dynamic lies a painful truth. You are not a romantic prospect to her, but a safe, predictable source of validation and comfort. And the more you reinforce this role, the further you push yourself away from being seen as a desirable partner. Stoicism teaches that a man should never place his emotional well-being in the hands of another, nor should he become dependent on external validation for his sense of worth. Yet, many men in the friend zone unknowingly do both. They believe that by being endlessly supportive, by always being available, by proving how much they care, they will eventually be chosen. But love and attraction do not work like a loyalty rewards program. There is no invisible counter-tracking how many emotional support hours you've racked up before she owes you a relationship. When a woman sees you as an emotional crutch, she becomes dependent on your presence, but not attracted to it. She knows she can turn to you when she's feeling low, and she takes comfort in the idea that you will always be there, regardless of how she treats you. This is not attraction, this is convenience. Seneca once said, "A man is as miserable as he thinks himself." If you allow yourself to be used in this way, it is not the woman who is to blame, it is you. You have set the terms of the relationship. You have made yourself available at all hours, willing to listen to her talk about the men she actually desires, willing to absorb her problems without ever setting boundaries for yourself. You have taught her that your presence is something that requires no effort, no challenge, no intrigue, and what is always available is never valued. The solution is simple, yet difficult. You must withdraw, not as a tactic to manipulate her, but as an act of self-respect. A Stoic man does not allow himself to be someone's emotional dumping ground, while receiving nothing in return. You must detach yourself from the need to be her source of comfort, to be the nice guy who listens but never excites. Stop answering every call and text immediately. When she vents about other men, cut the conversation short. You've really got to stop letting guys treat you like this. "Anyway, I can't talk long, do you have things to do?" Shift your focus away from her. Invest in yourself, your passions, and your social life rather than waiting for her validation. At first, she may not even notice, but over time, she will feel your absence. She will wonder why you are no longer so easily available. And when a woman senses that she is losing something she took for granted, she begins to reconsider its value. This is the power of Stoic detachment, to punish, not to manipulate, but to command respect by valuing yourself first. A fundamental mistake men make in the friend zone is giving too much attention, too much availability, and too much emotional energy without requiring anything in return. They believe that by being consistently present, always ready to listen, and constantly validating her, she will eventually recognize their worth and reciprocate their feelings. However, reality operates on a very different principle. What is always available is taken for granted, while what is scarce becomes valuable. The Stoic mindset teaches that a man should never beg for attention, nor make his happiness dependent on another's recognition. Yet when a man showers a woman with affection while she chases other men, he is engaging in precisely that kind of emotional dependence. He is not in control of his own desires. Instead, he waits for her to grant him permission to be dissuaded, a weak position that invites disregard rather than attraction. A woman only begins to reevaluate a man's worth when his attention is no longer a certainty. When a man pulls away, when he no longer prioritizes her above all else, when she feels his absence, she starts to question what she once took for granted. This is not about playing games, it is about enforcing a fundamental truth. A man who values himself will not endlessly wait for someone to see his worth. To implement this, he must stop being so available. If he always answers her texts immediately, he should delay his response. If she calls and he usually picks up on the first ring, he should let it go to voicemail sometimes. The goal is not to be rude, but to subtly communicate that his time is valuable. Likewise, he must learn to say no. If she asks to hang out last minute, and he normally rearranges his schedule to accommodate her, he should decline. Letting her see that his life does not revolve around her availability forces her to view him in a different light. Furthermore, he should expand his social life not as a manipulation tactic, but as a genuine pursuit of growth and fulfillment. Spending time with other people, picking up new hobbies, and engaging in active ties that make him happy naturally signals that he is a man with options. And options are attractive. Jealousy, when triggered naturally, can be a powerful force. It is not about manipulating emotions, but about showing value in a way that forces a woman to question her assumptions about him. If she believes she has full access to his attention and energy, she will not feel any urgency to pursue him. But if she starts seeing him enjoying the company of other women, whether through casual social interactions, friendships, or romantic pursuits, your perspective shifts. This does not mean flaunting superficial flirtations in front of her in a desperate attempt to make her jealous. Instead, it means living in a way that naturally exposes her to the idea that he is desirable to others. He can subtly mention social experiences, such as having an amazing conversation with someone new or spending time with friends, where there just happen to be other women. Most importantly, he must remain emotionally composed. If she reacts with curiosity, jealousy, or even frustration, he should neither gloat nor seek validation in her response. He should simply carry on as if it is the most natural thing in the world because it is. A true Stoic understands that he cannot control how others feel, can only control his own actions and mindset. He does not pull away to force a reaction from her. He does it because a man of value does not waste his time in situations where he is not respected or desired. If, in doing so, she starts to see him differently, it is not because he manipulated her, it is because he finally started treating himself as someone worthy of being desired. This is the essence of attraction. Not begging, not waiting, not provoking, simply being a man who respects himself enough to demand the same from others. At the core of the friend zone trap lies a subtle but crucial mistake: the need for validation. Men who find themselves stuck in this dynamic often unknowingly shape their entire behavior around a simple, unspoken desire to be liked, approved of, and chosen. They agree to easily, laugh too eagerly, and flood her with compliments, all in an attempt to prove their worth. But in doing so, they place themselves in a submissive position, one where they are constantly seeking rather than being sought after. This is not the behavior of a man who commands respect or attraction. It is the behavior of a man who hopes, waits, and depends on another's recognition for his sense of worth. The Stoic man, however, understands that his value is not determined by external approval, but by his own self-respect and actions. Attraction is not built on pleasing, but on intriguing. The men women chase are not the ones who desperately try to impress them, but the ones who stand firm in their own sense of identity and purpose. A woman must feel that a man's attention is something she has to earn, not something she is entitled to by default. To shift the power dynamic, a man must stop over-validating. This means ceasing to shower her with predictable, excessive compliments that place her on a pedestal. Instead of constantly affirming her beauty or worth, he should give unexpected, playful, or teasing compliments. Instead of saying, "You're so gorgeous, I can't believe you're still single," he might say, "That dress reminds me of something my grandma used to wear, but you pull it off well." This isn't about being rude, but about subtly communicating that he is not in awe of her, that he sees her as a person, not a goddess to be worshipped. Beyond compliments, he must also challenge her opinions and perspectives. Men who are constantly agreeing with everything a woman says do not come across as strong. Attractive figures appear weak, as though they lack their own sense of self. If she makes a claim, he should not just nod along to gain her favor. Instead, he should push back in a confident and playful way. "You really think that? I thought you had good taste." This injects tension, mystery, and excitement into the interaction. A woman is drawn to a man who stimulates her mind and emotions, not one who simply mirrors her thoughts. The key principle here is that a man must be his own person. He must stop filtering his thoughts, suppressing his personality, and adjusting his actions just to align with what he thinks she wants. The Stoic man is indifferent to fleeting opinions, including hers. He does not change himself to fit into a mold he believes will make her like him more. Instead, he operates from a place of inner confidence, knowing that his value is not contingent on her approval. Ironically, the moment a man stops seeking validation and begins to embody true self-respect, he becomes far more attractive. His attention becomes a prize, his presence a privilege, and suddenly, she is the one who feels the need to win him over. Attraction is not about provoking yourself, it's about embodying a presence so compelling that others are drawn to it naturally. One of the most powerful psychological triggers in human relationships is scarcity desire. What is rare, elusive, or slipping away? The moment something becomes too available, its perceived value plummets. This is why a man who is constantly present, always eager to respond, and perpetually waiting in the background loses his ability to generate attraction. He makes himself too predictable, too easy to obtain. To reverse this, a man must learn to embrace indifference as a manipulative tactic, but as a mindset rooted in self-respect. A Stoic man does not chase or beg for attention, because he understands that his worth is not dependent on how much someone else validates him. Instead, he withdraws his presence strategically, allowing his absence to create space for desire to grow. Most men in the friend zone make the mistake of always being available. They respond to texts immediately, answer calls on the first ring, and adjust their schedules at a moment's notice just to accommodate her. This behavior sends one clear message: my time is not valuable. And if a man does not value his own time, why should she? A man who respects himself operates differently. He delays responses, he is not always free, and he makes it clear without saying a word that his world does not revolve around her. This absence is what creates uncertainty, and uncertainty is the birthplace of attraction. The moment a woman starts wondering, why hasn't he texted me yet? Or has he lost interest in me? She begins to crave his attention in a way she never did before. The power of silence is vastly underrated. Most men feel the need to constantly reassure a woman of their presence, to remind her that they care. But true confidence is not found in constant reassurance, it is found in the ability to walk away without fear. When a man stops reaching out first, stops initiating conversations, and stops always making himself available, a woman is forced to confront a new and uncomfortable reality. He might not be there forever. This thought alone can flip the dynamic completely. When a woman starts sensing that she could lose a man, she instinctively begins to value him more. This is not manipulation, it is simply human psychology at play. A Stoic man understands that his value is not increased by how much attention he gives, but by how much he values himself. He does not chase, he does not beg, and he certainly does not linger in the background, waiting for his moment. He focuses on his own life, his own purpose, and his own growth. In doing so, he becomes a man of scarcity, and scarcity creates desire. A woman does not fall for a man she can have at any time. She falls for a man who makes her feel like she must earn his time and presence. The moment a man fully embraces this philosophy and masters the art of indifference, he stops being just another option, becomes the one she suddenly realizes she doesn't want to lose. A woman does not friend zone a man because he is inherently unworthy or lacking value. She does so because, at that moment, she does not perceive him as her best option. This truth may be painful, but it is also liberating. Instead of dwelling on rejection or trying to convince her to see you differently, you must become a man she cannot ignore it by seeking her validation, but by transforming yourself for your own sake. This is where the essence of Stoic philosophy comes into play. Focus on what you can control yourself and release attachment to what you can other feelings. Many men in the friend zone make the fatal mistake of stagnation. They wait, hoping that one day she will realize how much they care. But this passive approach does nothing to shift attraction. Women do not reevaluate men who remain the same. They only rethink their choices when a man's reality surpasses their expectations. If she placed you in the friend zone, it is because she believed she had a better option. Your task is to obliterate that perception not through words, but through undeniable action. Upgrade yourself. Build the body that commands presence when you walk into a room. Develop your fashion sense so that your appearance reflects self-respect and status. Expand your social circle, not just with other men, but with women who enjoy your company. Cultivate a life so rich and fulfilling that the idea of waiting around for one woman becomes laughable. Do not do this for her. Do it for yourself. And in doing so, you become the man she wishes she had noticed sooner. But here's the key. Let her see your evolution, but remain indifferent to her reaction. Post pictures of your new experiences, but never in a way that appears forced or desperate for her attention. Speak about your progress in passing, not as a plea for validation, but as a simple reflection of reality. Let her observe that while she hesitated, other women did not. The moment she realizes that you are no longer waiting for her, but instead thriving in your own right, she will begin to question everything. And here's the Stoic paradox: by the time she starts to reconsider, you may no longer care. The true victory is not in making her chase you. It is in reaching a point where her approval is irrelevant. A man who has upgraded himself does not pine over past rejection. He moves forward with an unwavering sense of purpose, leaving behind those who failed to see his value. This is the ultimate shift in power, not through manipulation, not through games, but through a relentless commitment to self-mastery. The friend zone was never your prison, it was your wake-up call. And now, as you elevate yourself beyond her perception, she is left to face the bitter reality. You were never the problem. Her inability to recognize your worth was. The friend zone is not a matter of bad luck or fate, it is a reflection of perception. Women do not reject men because they are inherently unworthy. They reject men because they fail to evoke attraction and desire. The fundamental mistake most men make is believing that attraction is a reward for being kind, loyal, or present. But in reality, attraction is not transactional, it is psychological and emotional, deeply rooted in how a man carries himself, the energy he exudes, and whether or not he presents a challenge worth pursuing. A woman is drawn not to the man who endlessly gives, but to the man who chooses where to invest his energy. She is drawn to the man who is a mystery, who holds his own, who does not seek approval but commands attention through his presence and purpose. This is why confidence, detachment, and self-mastery are infinitely more attractive than mere availability. If you shift your energy away from trying to be chosen and toward becoming your best self, women will naturally take notice. You do not need to prove your worth, you need to embody it. Stoicism teaches us that true power lies in controlling what is within our grasp and releasing attachment to what is not. You cannot control how she feels. You cannot force her to see your value. But what you can control is how you present yourself, how you respond to rejection, and how you cultivate an aura of abundance rather than scarcity. The more you invest in yourself physically, mentally, and socially, less you will care about whether one particular woman validates you. And paradoxically, that very indifference is what makes you irresistibly attractive. Many men fall into the trap of believing that if they just wait long enough, if they just give enough, if they just prove how much they care, she will eventually wake up and choose them. But this is a fool's game, rooted in desperation rather than power. Instead of hoping to be picked, become the man who picks. When you prioritize yourself, your mission, and your growth, you naturally rise above the need for external validation. And when she sees that she is no longer the center of your world, when she realizes that your attention is not guaranteed, she will feel something she never expected, a deep and unsettling desire to earn what she once took for granted. This is the ultimate shift from being the one who chases to the one who is pursued. But by the time she realizes it, you will have already moved forward. And that, in itself, is the greatest victory. You are no longer waiting for her to choose you, you have chosen yourself. If this message resonates with you, please like, share, and subscribe for more content that will help you create the life you truly deserve. Thank you for watching. See you in the next video.